Hello friends, welcome to welcome to a new topic today. In this chapter, we are going to learn about the classification of renal tumors. So, renal tumors can be benign or malignant. So, first we see benign tumors. Benign type of renal tumors include adenoma, adenoma, angioma, and angiomyolipoma. The malignant type of renal tumors include we have Wilms tumor or nephroblastoma, Gravid's tumor or renal cell carcinoma or hypernephroma or internist tumor. Then third type we have transitional cell carcinoma of pelvis and collecting system. Transitional cell carcinoma of pelvic and collecting system is the third type of renal cell carcinoma. So first we will see adenoma. So what do you see in adenoma? So first in the adenoma you see multiple tiny nodules of 3 centimeters in diameter. Okay, mostly in benign tumors it is 3 centimeters in diameter. If you find them to be more than 3 centimeters in diameter, always think of malignancy. These are sometimes encapsulated yellowish white tumors and they have tubular cords or papillary structures are present which are projecting into the cystic spaces. The cells are mainly lined by cuboidal. These tubular cord-like structures are lined by cuboidal epithelium with no atypical mitosis. Atypicality or mycosis. So mitosis, if you see clinical features, they are asymptomatic and incidental finding. If you see all the benign tumors, most of the benign tumors are not atypical and there is no mitosis. The main thing that you have to remember is these papillary structures and cuboidal nature. I'll just show you the picture. Okay, so this is the picture where you see these are the papillary structures, right? This is the cystic lumen and these are the papillae like structure which are lined by cuboidal epithelium. There is no atypicality or no mitosis is seen. So this is adenoma, renal adenoma. Then we have something called as oncocytoma. So what do you see in oncocytoma? Even this is a benign tumor and it is mainly arising from the collecting ducts. It is gross encapsulated tumor with variable size. On cut section you see homogeneous mahogany brown or tan like color. Homogeneous mahogany or brown or tan like color. Here you see tumor cells are plump. They are in groups with abundant fine acidophilic cytoplasm and round nuclei. They have abundant fine granular acidophilic cytoplasm in and round nuclei. If you do electron microscopy, in electron microscopy you see mitochondria present in the cytoplasm. So that is oncocytoma. So in oncocytoma you see collecting ducts and also homogeneous and mahogany brown tan color on cross section. Microscopically you see tumor cells which are plump or group with abundant fine granular acidophilic cytoplasm and round nuclei. If you see on electron microscopy you see many mitochondria in cytoplasm. I'll show you the pictures again. Okay, so this is the if you see these are many papillary structures inside the cystic structures. Okay, see these are the cysts which are lined by cuboidal epithelium papillary structures. So this is nothing but renal adenoma. Okay, this picture shows renal adenoma. Then we have the next picture here. If you see here, these are the multiple groups of tumor cells which you see. Okay, and they have eosinophilic cytoplasm. How can I say that they have eosinophilic cytoplasm? It's quite simple. Just see this pink color and see this pink color. The pink color variations, if you see, this is a light pinker color and this is darker pink color, right? So as pink color increases, so obviously it is acidophilic cytoplasm. Okay, now if you so what is this? This is oncocytoma, which is arising from the collecting tubules and it is made up of a group of tumor cells with acidophilic cytoplasm. And I told you in electron microscopic picture you will see numerous mitochondria. This is also an electron microscopic picture of oncocytoma and these are the many mitochondria which you see in the electron microscopic picture. Okay, so this is about the oncocytoma. Then if you add some more things about oncocytoma, see, oncocytoma, I said it resembles eosinophilic variant of chromophobe carcinoma. Then biopsy cannot distinguish this from chromophobe carcinoma. It has rich in mitochondria. Investigation of choice, if you see on CECT, you see central stellate scar sign. On CECT, you see central stellate scar sign, and on angiography, you see spoke wheel or cartwheel appearance. On angiography, you see spoke wheel or cartwheel appearance. So the treatment in this oncocytoma is you should do a nephron sparing surgery. Treatment is nephron sparing surgery. I'll show you these pictures also. So if you see, this is the picture of CECT. Okay, and this is the central stellate scar which you can see in the left kidney. So what is this? This is central stellate scar of renal oncocytoma. This is the picture of angiography. Okay, in the angiography, if you can see, what can you see? See, this is a blood vessel. Okay, here if you see, it is something like, right, this, doesn't it look, isn't it looking like a spokes of wheel, right? So this is spokes of wheel pattern of angiocytoma, sorry, of oncocytoma, spoke wheel pattern. Okay, so this is about oncocytoma. Then if you see central stellate, I told you that there is central stellate scar in oncocytoma, right? What are the other differential diagnosis for central stellate scar? This central stellate scar is seen in focal nodular hyperplasia, and it is also seen in fibrolamellar variant of hepatocellular carcinoma. It is seen in focal nodular hyperplasia and fibrolamellar variant of hepatocellular carcinoma. Then we have something called as angiomyolipoma of kidney. The next tumor is angiomyolipoma. This angiomyolipoma is most commonly seen in females more than males. And in this angiomyolipoma, here we see first hematoma, and it presents with fat in the lesion. As the name says, see, it is a hematoma, and this is, see, angio is blood vessels, myo is muscle cells, lipoma is fat. Okay, as the name says, it has blood vessels, smooth muscle cells and fat cells in the angiomyolipoma. So histologically, you will see blood vessels, smooth muscles and fat cells. I will show you the histological picture also. So it is most commonly associated with tuberous sclerosis. It is most commonly associated with tuberous sclerosis. It is associated with tuberous sclerosis. Okay, so angiomyolipoma in 50% of patients with tuberous sclerosis, that too familial type of tuberous sclerosis, this angiomyolipoma is more common, and it is seen in around 30 to 40 years of age group. Okay, what does the patient presents to you with? The patients present to you with hematuria, hypovolemic shock, flank pain, hypertension. There will be palpable mass and anemia also. So the patient presents to you with hematuria, hypovolemic shock, flank pain, hypertension, palpable mass and anemia. It's simple, all these are relative. If you see, there is a palpable mass. Okay, because of this palpable mass, because of the stretching of capsule, you see flank pain. Okay, because it is constituted of, this tumor is mainly constituted of blood vessels. Whenever there is rupture of small blood vessels, that will lead to formation of hematuria. When this hematuria increases, okay, lot of blood is lost in the urine, so as a result there will be anemia and there will be hypovolemic shock. This is how all these are interconnected. Now this angiomyolipoma sometimes presents with spontaneous retroperitoneal hemorrhage, and this spontaneous retroperitoneal hemorrhage in angiomyolipoma is called as Wunderlich syndrome. We have given it a name as Wunderlich syndrome. Okay, next if you see, the investigation of choice is CECT, where you can see presence of fat in the lesion is seen in CECT. Then in this, if you see, HMP45 is positive, which is very important. Then if you treat the patient, how are you going to treat the patient? The treatment is depends upon the symptomatic or asymptomatic lesion. So if it is asymptomatic and lesion is less than 4 centimeters, then you can observe, okay, and you'll have to do follow up imaging should be done. If the lesion is asymptomatic and if the lesion is less than 4 centimeters, you will have to do observation. If the lesion is more than 4 centimeters and they are mild, no or mild symptoms, almost no or mild symptoms, even then you should do follow up with biannual imaging. Only and only if the lesion is more than 4 centimeters and there is moderate to severe symptoms like pain or hemorrhage, okay, only then you should do selective embolization or partial nephrectomy is indicated. Only when the lesion size is more than 4 centimeters and moderate and severe symptoms are present, only then you will have to operate on this patient. Remember, in renal diseases, in angiomyolipoma, if the lesion is more than 4 centimeters, then you will do the surgery. Similarly, in renal cell carcinoma also, if the lesion is more than 4 centimeters, only then you will do radical nephrectomy. If the lesion is less than 4 centimeters in renal cell carcinoma, you will do partial nephrectomy. So this is one thing which you have to remember. Most of the cases, if you see, many cases are asymptomatic and only incidentally diagnosed. Sometimes sporadic cases are seen in age group of 50 to 60 years. See, if it is associated with tuberous sclerosis, then the age group is 30 to 40 years. If it is associated with, if it is sporadic form, then the age group is 50 to 60 years, right? Then the next tumor which is present here is mesoblastic nephroma. So this mesoblastic nephroma is a congenital benign cell tumor, okay, and this is as the see, mesoblastic, it consists of mesoblast cells that is derived from mesenchymal cells. So here you see spindle cells which are arranged in whorl like pattern, okay. So this is about mesoblastic nephroma. I'll show you the pictures of angiomyolipoma in a minute. See, I told you about Wunderlich syndrome, right? What is Wunderlich syndrome? Wunderlich syndrome is in angiomyolipoma. Whenever there is massive retroperitoneal hemorrhage, this leads to hemodynamic instability, which is called as Wunderlich syndrome, right? I have also told you that in angiomyolipoma, we have HMB45 positive. What are the other tumors with HMB45 positive? That is angiomyolipoma and melanoma. You see HMB45 is positive in angiomyolipoma and melanoma. Then if you see the treatment, for example, if you were given a case scenario with female with angiomyolipoma along with active bleeding, female angiomyolipoma and active bleeding, associated with active bleeding, then the treatment of this condition is angioembolization is seen. Angiomyolipoma with active bleeding, you see angioembolization, right? Now let me show you pictures. So if you see the pictures, these are the pictures taken from Robbins. So here this is angiomyolipoma. In the MRI you can see this tumor, okay. So this is the tumor of angiomyolipoma, okay, which is eccentrically placed in the lower pole of the kidney, which has bright enhancement, okay. The darker areas, see some of the darker areas which are there, they are lipid component, whereas brighter areas, these I'll show you one minute, there is vascular component. So if you see all these darker areas which you see, these are fat components, and this brighter area which you are seeing here, that is lipid components, okay. So I'm really sorry, see these darker areas are lipid components, and you see these brighter white colored areas are vessels like angio component, okay. So this is how you can differentiate. Then we have, this is the picture, that is gross picture of this disorder, of this lesion, okay. So this is the cut section of the kidney with yellowish tan surface in the upper pole, okay. It's difficult to identify this, okay. So okay, you can think that it is angiomyolipoma. Then if you see this here, these are the fat cells which you can see, right? So you have lipoma part, that is adipocytes are present, which are these, and these are the smooth muscle cells which are interlacing. And if you just zoom in, okay, in the smooth muscle counterparts you can see some blood vessels. I'll just show you. See these thicker, these are nothing but the blood vessels present in this tumor, in this muscle cells, okay. So that is the tumor, sorry, that is the blood vessel part. Okay, so I will show you this better in this image. In this image, if you see, this is the fat part, right? So these are the spindle cells, which are nothing but the muscle cells. Okay, so these are the vessels which you see. So this is angiomyolipoma, where you see fat cells, spindle cells and vessels. Okay, similarly, see, this is the angiomyolipoma which you see here, and in this picture you can see here and also here. Okay, you see varying density of kidney with some darker areas and some lighter areas are seen in this angiomyolipoma, right? So this is about the some tumors of the kidney. So if you see this one, angiomyolipoma, see, angiomyolipoma is most commonly associated with tuberous sclerosis, right? You should also know some manifestations of tuberous sclerosis. There will be cortical tubers. Tuberous sclerosis is associated with cortical tubers, this one, and subependymal nodules, these are. Then we have a facial angiomyomatosis, all these are facial angiomyomatosis. Then we have, it is associated with cardiac rhabdomyomas, these are cardiac rhabdomyomas, renal angiolipomas and hypopigmented macules. So if you see here, this is the angiomyolipoma, which is a low density tumor because of fat. See, this content is almost similar to this one with a small brighter spots. These brighter areas are blood vessels, whereas the one which has this density is nothing but fat. Okay, these are the two renal angiomyolipomas which you see. This is the normal fat in the kidney sinuses. So if you see, this is the picture where you see adipose tissues, right? These are the adipose tissues, these are the blood vessels which you see, and this is the modified smooth muscle spindle cells are seen. So this is about angiomyolipoma, right? So thank you guys for watching my lecture. Thank you.